Alright. Alright, so I'm gonna get to work on this now. I've got free time. Uh, Where? Blue. It's just blue. I don't even know what I'm looking at. Remember your... I... No, I have no idea what that... I'm completely out of the reference and loop of this. Let me turn the sound on from media source so that people have music. There you go. Right. I don't think anyone's gonna ping you. You're gonna have to pay attention. I'm sorry. Nobody ever does that. I know people say that all the time. Nobody ever pings someone. So you'll have to just keep tabs. I'm sorry. It's just what happens. It happened right now. The server, it's going insane. Oh, he's gone. Nothing happened? That's pretty crazy.
Always. Bad.
No, nothing happened.
One was insane and the gifts were just coming in. The good one.
No. Nothing's happening.
Oh, here it is. Here it is.
It's all quiet on the happening front.
Favorite.
Oh god, that's fucked. I always bet on nothing? That's actually a good gift. I think I'm gonna keep that, Bruno. That's mine now.
Wait, I have other one.
My god. Are we looping? Is it looping time?
It's loping time.
Holy fucking
You wanna
bananas.
well, I'm on anyway, so it's the loping time, but it's, you know, it was loping time earlier too.
I'm about to interlope. Oh yeah.
You wanna beat Cone, Dimat. How the fuck do I say your name? I've never known, you know. I don't know how to say it. What the fuck? Can you like spell it out, but like in the way that like words are spelled out in dictionaries? Because I don't get it.
Remember there was this one specific guy that just spammed this mustard gift for no reason?
Okay, let's turn off media.
Who you're talking to that can speak the name?
Huh?
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 Oh, I still... Guys.
Wait a
Oh,
moment.
I'm streaming.
I still have it saved, guys.
I'm streaming, yeah.
Screen.
I've got a
I still have
stream.
it saved. Everyone, look at my screen.
I don't like those gifts. I don't like that. I like the one that you sent before, not that one.
My grave standing through.
You're not streaming.
I am streaming.
What the fuck is... Why is there so much mustard? Why?
Alright, I'm gonna switch.
Why is there...
Okay, so as much as I wanted to be in that voice call with them, and I don't want to be gatekeeping, like, you know, verified voice BS, I get that. You know, that's all, you know, gatekeeping bad, and I actually agree with that. Although, let's not get in... What am I doing? That's fucking something that... When that happened, by the way, because there was... for anyone who doesn't know, there was this... And don't, like, treat it with seriousness, because it's not... It's dead, okay? So leave that bit alone. But there was this huge thing where people would like complain from the other chats that verified VC was like gatekeeping information and shit, and people like could not get enough of it. It was like such a big thing. I will not. And I guess they just like... it's just funny to me now because people could not let it go. But yeah, I'm not gatekeeping. I just moved to verified voice because I'm gonna be honest. It's probably the best way to filter who is... I know it's a paywall, but it's the best way to filter who's actually, you know, like a really dedicated investigator. It's only by chance. It's not by saying that you have to be paying to be, you know, that's not what that is. It's just that they happen to be like coinciding usually. And it's a lot quieter in here, so I can just yap to the stream. Yeah. But anyway, I'm not. There is no gatekeeping here because I'm fucking streaming. So you can just look at what I'm doing. you can just observe. So there's no gatekeeping. We're good. We're balling. I got donuts. I got like jam-filled donuts. It's fucking sick. I also got like chocolate milkshake. This is gonna be a really good stream. It's good. Oh, these are really good. I like them. I'm not gonna put my mic too close to my face though, because I'm not trying to give you ASMR. I just really like them. It's good. I might actually turn my mic off while I'm eating these. I don't want to fucking... I don't want you to hear me chewing. Hang on. It's at 8.5 decibels. Okay. Minus 8.5 decibels was... There it is. Okay. So, I guess I just need to... I need to wait for the server to restart. We got, 14 minutes. That's not too long, that's not too long. Just gotta wait. Just takes a little bit of time. My ADHD isn't prepped for this. I would get on stage, but the thing about it is that I'm pretty sure Sierra would hang me, so... I still have stage mod though. I shouldn't, but I can still see the fucking chat. So, oh. I always forget, I think it's a they. Yeah. But yeah, I guess they haven't done the actual, stuff to do with stage mod yet. They're just rallying the numbers. Maybe they're getting applications, reviewing shit. If I don't get stage mod, it's not the end of the world actually, because I'll just stream. It's kind of my own stage. This is my, you know what I mean? I mean, I would like to do both at the same time, because that means that people can see in retrospect and people can also go on. So I guess it'd be better, yeah. Shit. No, I'm just trying to, I guess I'm trying to gear myself up for the very real possibility that I'm not going to be on the list when things are done. I can absolutely see how that might be the case. Especially given that I wasn't like super fun. The thing about it though is that when we got stage mod, I'm just yapping now by the way, I'm yapping to just be aware, you know, I'm just yapping to pass the time. When we got stage mod, we weren't exactly told how to moderate other stage mods or how to deal with them. Like we don't know, sorry for that, we don't know what our, we don't know where our authority leads when referring to one another. We have no idea. So we didn't really know how to deal with a stage mod if the stage mod was being just actively maybe even hostile, but just a nuisance and causing problems and bringing thousands of people up. So I guess what I'm hoping is that Sierra just does better with the picks this time. But there's still the matter of that. I don't know how we deal with stage mods that are not really trustworthy enough to be stage mods. Although I'm probably not, again, I'm not gonna be able to, it's not gonna be my business probably. Again, I'm kind of a, because I'm not as active as someone like Corny. I mean, I am in the other ways. I'm probably more invested in the investigation perhaps in my own time, but I'm not invested enough in the Discord. Like I don't talk all the time. I don't talk much at all, like text wise. So I probably don't deserve it, or I probably haven't like earned my spot or whatever, which is fine. I'm just trying to, I guess I'm trying to brace myself emotionally for the fact that I'm not gonna be stage mod anymore. And stage is gonna be its own thing, sailing off into the wind. I mean, I guess, you know, I kept saying that I hate it so much. But the reason I don't hate it, the thing is I don't hate the concept. The reason why I stuck around was because I'm just trying to do the math in my head. It's because I actually loved it. Like, I really did. But I only loved it when it worked. So... yeah, I guess, Also, if we're just doing the math on this, are there going to be any more like, events, like in CGs? I mean, there are things happening right now. Oh yeah, to recap, anyone who is only watching through the streams, like in retrospect, we got two things that happened recently. Two things. Two messages. The first one we found when Gravity Gun was fucking around in Kurt, and he went into Spectator by chance, and he got a message to be displayed on his screen when he got hit by like because if you go into spectator, let me explain this first. You go into spectator and you then switch to a team after. So instead of just dying and respawning, you actually like do a hop back and forth. The game restarts the map, but it doesn't restart it in like the level loading. It just puts everything like toys back where they were when things began. So I guess yeah, sorry, yeah. So because of that, using that little trick, you're able to trigger the Kurt config twice, and it means you can run up to the very end of the wall. And when I don't know if I can, how easy it'll be to show the screenshot. I might need to do an image source thing in a second. But when he went up to the Kurt wall, he got a message. Let me find it. I know this. He didn't know exactly why it was happening at first. Shit. Let me find it. From Luna has image. I know Luna reposted it. I know that much. And then I was able to figure out pretty quickly, because it was very obvious. Let me save these images actually, because if it was so hard to find it, this is gonna get lost to time. Okay. In-game screenshot texts. Okay. So, the first one, which he got, read, "Machine hates platform to noise. Kill cone game." And when we heard that for the first time around, we kind of thought that maybe it's like a remnant of the past, because there's been many stages to the CGE7 investigation. Hello, I'm talking to my stream, just so you know you are being streamed to your voice if you talk. And yeah, and we thought because it was like it was talking about cone game, and we were thinking maybe that's just to do with like it was supposed to be a hint back in the day. So that was like what we were going with, but it was still very interesting that like it was still there, like in the config, if that is the case. So it was odd. But then today, at around the same time, I don't know quite why, we discovered that stepping on platform 4 in Maze gives a message to the player. Machine hate... Oh no, that's not it, sorry. Please stop noise, it angers machine game. And what that means is that, because I've tested all the buttons like 1,000 times over in Maze, what that has to mean is that there's something to do like now. Something's happening now. It's gotta be something to do with Maze. It's gotta be.
Yeah, plus nobody
Actually,
saying that
no, it doesn't.
This,
Well, no, I mean, we were saying, Good Dwarf, maybe you weren't there for it, but yesterday we were thinking that we were dismissing it a little bit because we were thinking, okay, maybe this is just like a temporary thing. Like it was like a remnant, something we forgot to get rid of, but it isn't.
Was saying that it's an old message that was just discovered, but it's gonna be it's
We were discussing it. All of us were discussing it. We were talking about how it might be from the first stage of CG7, as a hint, because it talked about cone game in such a way, like the Riddler. So it absolutely could be, like, again, you weren't there for it, but we were talking about that. What has something to do with Maze? Do you think something has updated? I don't think anything's updated, Walnut, but I think that maybe one of the configs has been changed. Like maybe the functionality, the back-end functionality is changing, with how the buttons go. But anything that's in the maps, I think is going to stay in the maps, except for like 2-4, which changes all the time. And maybe Ask. Ask is also something that changes throughout time, but everything else has been pretty stable. Except the back end of stuff, like how Ordnance doesn't work anymore. It just sends you to a new map, Ord End. So I think what we're looking for is a combination of triggers and messing with the back-end functionality that happens to all be aligned to be something that you can do in order. particularly with Maze, I have an idea for the order of buttons that I want to try. Because it starts with 4, and the reason, and I'm thinking that maybe that message is, I mean, it seems it's a warning technically from CG7, but it may also just be a way in, you know. Also, it tells us that we can piss CG7 off, and that's often how we get DM NPCs to do shit, by just provoking them. So.
Who asked you the question? Who are you talking?
I am running a stream right now.
Oh right, stream.
I'm streaming on YouTube, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. So yeah, I'm at the very least, it may not be a specific set of configs, but the point is that this thing is still alive, and if it's alive and it's reacting to us pissing it off, it means that pissing it off does stuff. So I know that you know, it's like devil's advocate. It's like, you know, maybe we shouldn't be doing that because maybe we shouldn't be doing war crimes again. You know, Mona is a prime example of a victim of war crimes in this investigation. But
Yeah.
I still, but the thing is though, is that it doesn't, there's no other way in. Like, nothing else produces results. So I feel like it might just be, the step. Do you know what I mean? To getting, we need more access, and we need shit to happen. Because right now the things that we have don't give us any way of doing anything.
I personally think that we should go and test older maps that we have, since if it appeared on Kurt and Maze, it could have also appeared on older maps.
I think that's 100% true. Yes, I think we should test older configs and things that are Ask is a bust, because otherwise we'd be experiencing it literally all the time, because all the configs in there are executed, you know, all the time. But other maps like Quiz and like
Quiz
View,
still brings you to Ask.
all of
Maybe
those,
normal
you know,
Ask has something new.
messing around, because it keeps talking about Cone game. Messing around with Cone is probably the most solid lead, or Maze. Like, I think Maze is probably, again, because Maze has buttons, which means it has, you know, basically there's something to toy with. So Maze is probably the most solid lead for now. But testing all of the configs is not a bad idea at all, because something is changing in the back end. So if that's the case, we can't rely on things being the same anymore, because they're not. So yeah, we absolutely should go through them. I just think we should start with Maze personally, because it keeps talking about Cone game, like it will not shut the fuck up about Cone game. So that's probably the most open lead. Alright, I'm gonna connect. I have a plan for which order to do the buttons in. It may not work, but I still want to do it because it, you know, and it'll, at the very least, I'll get to witness it telling me hi, you know, saying hi. Although I might not. The thing about my name, it's really unfortunate. I didn't realize this would be a problem, but it does things in alphabetical order. So the first alphabetical name it finds is the one that it wants to give the messages to. And my name begins with V, so I've got like the least amount of chance of getting a message. It's really upsetting. And if CG7's still in the server as well, which it isn't for Cone's Maze, so that's okay. But if it's still in the server, I'm pretty sure it ends up sending the message to itself, because Kurt stopped working unless you have like a name that's like B or C, sorry, B or A.
Yeah, I named myself
Wait, no, Gravity Gun was G.
Yeah.
So it just stopped working. That's another thing to note for the viewers out there. It stopped working after usage, which is very odd. Huh? So strange.
Eat my dust.
So very strange. Yeah. Alabox. How do I say? Box? I don't know how to say. Allo Books. I don't know how to say your name, but you know who I'm it's you. what he said for the stream is, I have a strange theory. Maybe CG7 server, maybe a temporary house for DMNPC souls because there is a service manager. Yeah, I mean that's absolutely. I think also my belief of this is that all source games, including weapons, including whatever, can be contained within themselves like virtual machines. So you can pick up a weapon that contains an entire runtime, in like storage, in like code. It's really odd, but that's what I think. I think that's what I think's going on. So a server, a runtime, client, whatever. I think they can all be like a Docker. What do you mean? Can you explain how a Docker works?
I can explain. A Docker container is something. For example, if you had a Plex server, which is a media sharing thing, you could download a Docker container, and that's basically a self-hosted operating system, something like a virtual machine, but for one specific purpose.
Kind of, yeah. I'm not thinking about it like, if that's what a Docker is, then that's not what I'm thinking about so much. It's more like what happens is when the games communicate, instead of it using, I mean, at least in this like in universe, however the hell it works, instead of it just using systems where it gets it all from one wave spray, games that are related to Interloper, runtimes that are related to Interloper, they all just share information at connection. So whatever information they don't have is almost instantly streamed and communicated, which means that you can also have it. Yeah, you can have it like in a container. So you can have a container in a container as well. So you can do layers.
That all DMNPCs are runtime entities.
No, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that because for whatever reason, Ida was very focused on one particular game model, like one particular female 01 model, and he used it everywhere, including to torture it. So I think it's more likely that DMNPCs, I think what it does is it saves the model as a new model name, and that's how you store DMNPC model data. You store it by literally saving it as a new model, and you just add whatever data to it that is still there. I also think that that's probably why the scout model is so fucked up. I think it's probably just because, like the one from Interloper 2, I think it's probably just because all of the data that was in the DMNPC that Anomidae got was erased, and that corrupted some other parts of the like physical visual model. But yeah, I think it stores it all in there, so you load the model every time, and it keeps all the information in memory of it.
It could be that a DMNPC, what I'm thinking is, it could be that a DMNPC is a runtime entity, and once it possesses something, it's like locked into that model.
What I'm trying to say is that I think I'm looking at the technicals a bit more, like it's a bit more technical than that. I'm looking at the idea of, I think what it does is you paste in a normal female 01 model, and immediately it gives it, an ID that's slapped onto the end. And then when you're done, like when you want to exit, it saves the model as a new model containing all of the data of that, like of the memory of that NPC, so that you can then load the model elsewhere, and it's like it's seamless. It just gets brought from one place to the other.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But like it saves it, and then you can load it again, and that's. But you have to load it onto. You have to. It seems to me like DMNPCs are. Yeah, the body, the way like it interacts. You have to spawn in like some kind of like info. It uses an info player start model, but I don't think it's info player start. You have to spawn in something.
Can I interrupt you?
Go on, sure, yeah.
It doesn't save it as a new model, it saves it as a DME file from what we know. If the interlopers are really DMNPCs, which is a theory, because in the source box, we see that interloper.dme.
Yeah, but that's loading a DME file. The DME file is the demo, it's the equivalent. We have the models for DMNPCs and they're MDLs. We have them. It's just that they're stripped of a bunch of their data. So we don't have the consciousness that they have, because it's all fucked. But we do have, yeah, we have the clean data of the DMNPC. Like we have, like just not the brain, unfortunately. And we also don't have the functionality to load one.
So Umbrella Men are demos.
Umbrella Man, what are you talking about? No, I think you're misunderstanding a lot of things, no offense. I just think that you're getting lost.
No, wait, because what is a .dme extension?
Um,
DME.
Given that it's in the place of where a .dmx file would be, I'm gonna say that it's almost like an alternative to a DMX file, like a session file for SFM. Except it's got like a different system that it uses because
Take a look in the side chat.
it's got a slightly different system, and whatever that system is compatible with all of the sharing assets, immediately streaming, and the source void. It's compatible with all of that.
I mean, yeah.
And
I
DMNPCs, it has all of the data, like, you know, well, it doesn't have the, it might not have the data for every program that all of this is dealing with, but at least it has it has the process of taking code and sharing it among peers. It has that in it. And I think that's what a DME file is. I think that's also why it loads. I think what happens is you get a DME file, you know, from a demo, you do a translation, and even though you don't have the models, it gets the models it needs. Like, you know, from the DME file, it probably finds wherever it's stored on some server and grabs what, so you can load it from any game.
Yeah, it could possibly get them from the F-Sky server.
Yeah, whoever's hosting it, really. Probably this, like, since 2008, whatever thing. Whoever's hosting these processes, probably where it's getting the data from. Like the assets and the animations and whatever you need to run the DME. But I think that the models are in fact MDLs. It's just it's a bit like how DMX files have different versions of each other. Like they have different headers and stuff, different versions of headers. So it's probably just an extensively, you know, more expanded in some ways. Probably less advanced than others, but more expanded version of MDL, like file storage.
I mean, from what we know, the DME is the days of Gold Source.
Well, it's definitely got to be. I suspect all of this was probably, if we're talking about like development times, it would have had to have all been in development around Half-Life 2's beta. So and they use MDLs. So.
You know why?
Well, I got kicked because someone went onto blue team. For fuck's sake. Well, I'm not getting in. I'm pissed off now. Yeah, I'm gonna leave call for a bit. But I'm not gonna stop the stream. I'm just gonna wait. Yeah. Actually, I might just stay because my main thing is that I like to yap. I know that like I should be talking with like multiple people and like, you know, inferring sources and stuff like that, but I don't really do that. I like to yap. So even if it's toxic, I just don't do it. Nobody's in CG7. Yeah. If that one guy hadn't gone onto blue team, I would have gone in. I'm kind of pissed now. All right, let me look at the rate. Is my rate? Let's turn it to 120,000 because that usually got me. They usually got me in first. Actually, 100,000 probably better. So let's do that. Everyone got kicked. Yeah. If I had gotten onto blue team, I would have gotten in. But one guy decided, no, I'm going blue team. Fuck you all. You know, I want blue. Blue is mine. I'm keeping it. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, doesn't matter. Really doesn't. I just gotta wait now. I wonder what I can do in the meantime. I don't really know. I could play some casual TF2 and just wait. I think I want to talk about it more though. The thing, so I'm just gonna yap for a bit. I think he was kind of on the right track a bit with the DME thing, but he wasn't on the right track when it came to. I do think that it has a method of storing things in runtime, like it can store. So you can store DMNPC data in a DME file. You can do that, but it's a bit. I think what the DME file is it's a bit like an interface system where you can like translate a demo into something that Box Rocket can like play back, but like as the packet, so it's playing back the actual thing. And because it can store the packets, it can also store the system of which you transfer, DMNPC stuff, including Type 6 shenanigans. So I would infer from that that that's probably how it got stuck in his PC. Just by, if you repeat the packets probably had all of the data of the NPC in it to translate, all of it to something that could be replayed. So that's how it got in his computer. The thing about that, though, is that that implies to me that I've never understood this about Project Skybox, like about the organization, and specifically about the application they made for Anomi to use, like the source mod, which was based on like 2006 software for whatever reason. I've never understood why it worked, because a lot of the things that were happening in there kind of imply that the organization would have had to slip in the code that is also in BoxRocket, that deals with sharing data. I guess the process of sharing, it's probably DME files, that's probably how that works. You can share data in DME packets, including code, not just assets. And that means you can, and it's probably not just exclusive to, by the way, DME just means data model exchange. So, yeah, actually, I'm gonna do some more research. What does a data model mean? Let me just, let me just find this. The fuck? What is a data model? I mean, I googled it before. I know about all this shit, but I just want to refresh. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so yeah, it exchanges data models. Um, and what that means is that the data models can contain, whatever code or reference code or scripting that you probably want, or have coded, or from other source games, which means you can, yeah. What's interesting about it, though, is that Project Skybox would have had to have had that code. Like, they would have had to have had it to put it in the source mod. I'm pretty sure the interlope command is like, I guess the interlope command is like like the last remnant of it. I think the only reason why Anomi has it, and why a few people had it, is probably because the runtimes and files that Anomi had were probably like Half-Life 2 files that had been updated throughout the years instead of just fresh installed. So what might have happened is that when it updated the DLLs, it didn't touch the interlope thing. It's just that one day the update stopped being, maybe there was only like one update randomly at some point that shipped the data to load DME files with. And I guess what must have happened then is perhaps Skybox managed to get a look at the DLLs. Maybe they managed to crack it and like reverse engineer it. I mean, that's what must have happened. Because how the fuck did they? Another option is that they're a lot more suspicious than than we realized, and they just have their hands on this code already. They just don't have something else. But I don't think so. I mean, it could be also that Anomi's IP is just recognized. Or not his IP, but like his computer is recognized. So it's like he's given permission. But no, it probably is a permission thing. I bet it is. Credentials, yeah. Which means his PC is old, by the way. He's had it for... That also says a lot, actually, because he's got a Windows 10 PC. So it couldn't have been the update that he would have gotten the interlope command from. Unless he directly transferred his files, it would have at least... I think, when did Windows 10 release? Hang on. When did Windows 10 release? 2015. So where did he get it from? Did Windows 7, hang on. Did Windows 7 allow you to update to Windows 10? Right, yeah, okay, so originally Anomi would have had a, I'm not sure how his PC is running things so smoothly then, but he would have had a window, he's running it, the Interlope machine is like a Windows 7, it has to be like a Windows 7 machine. So it's gotta be ancient for that update to have happened and the files to be the same. Unless it's like using a hard drive, you could be using an archaic hard drive. But I don't think so. I think it's literally that he just still has the files. I'm trying to think about how he would still, like, how that could have happened, just update after update, instead of replacing the program. And I guess it just carried along. When Windows 7 release? When did Windows... Obviously it won't be the first versions, but no. 2009. So he probably would have gotten it in 2012. His PC is probably from 2000, like, if I had to guess. And then in 2013, the Interlope, the DME system of file transferring was gone. So, yeah, shit. That doesn't really explain why Project Skybox, like the organization, can't do it of their own accord. Perhaps it's just that they don't need to. I'm assuming bad faith, I guess. Maybe they just don't want to. It might just be that Anomi is the dedicated investigator for this, but, it's not that it requires him, it's just that we call it the Interloper machine. Yeah. I could ask, but I don't think he's gonna answer. The thing is, like, except for things that are, like, out of character, Anomi hasn't actually been online for quite a long time. I mean, he's been online many times, but he hasn't been, he hasn't really talked at all. So I doubt he'd even respond if we asked. I have no idea what he's up to. He's just busy, I guess, but he's not around. So I don't really, yeah, I don't really know. Yeah, but it means that it probably isn't credentials. It's gotta be, it could just be that the DLLs got updated instead of, like, installed, like fresh install. And that could make a huge difference, maybe. So the DME tool, whatever happened in the 25th anniversary, I guess it affected the game files so severely that the DME tool was wiped. Maybe they made an update to remove it. I don't know. But it was a system of loading those files, of loading remotely loading data model exchanges. And that was part of the system. I guess you could do, I guess those commands were a bit like the non, if I had to guess, they were like the non-UI version of fucking around with DME files. So if you didn't have, like, BoxRocket open, you could still use some commands. Because if I remember correctly, you could send maps, and you could send demos. You could basically, I bet you could just send anything, I bet it let you send anything you fucking wanted to the IP if you connected to the IP. I bet it let you send whatever the fuck you want. It just yeah. So yeah, but we don't have the tool. But yeah, I guess that's what BoxRocket is in here for, like in the investigation for. It must be to do with this. I guess BoxRocket was probably like what the DME thing was originally designed for. And they've just been, because SFM's been, like, worked on throughout the years. So BoxRocket was probably, that was the plan, what you do is you connect to, you know, Valve servers or even a community server, but you connect to, you know, some Source Engine based servers that support this functionality, and you still have that in its DLLs, and you can then like using that. You could also probably just do it from your main game. I bet it was meant to reference other files too, but it figures out what files it's missing, and it grabs them, and it streams them at like runtime. It doesn't do a download process. It literally at runtime grabs what it needs really fast. I think it's a bit like GCF streaming, where GCF's like it's really fine and precise, but it used to be that like, and the reason why GCS was so good is because they'd let you play the game while the update was installing, because it was file streaming. It was a specific system where you could do that. So I guess what it's supposed to do is it's supposed to pack. It probably only packs into your runtime now. So it was supposed to. The idea was to pack into your runtime and the GCFs, but we have VPKs now. It can also be packed into maps. That's interesting. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe the reason why things get packed into maps now is because it's not necessarily that it's standard practice. It's just that it became standard practice when VPKs were introduced, because suddenly we couldn't use any of the GCF streaming, but maybe BSPs have the same. It may not be a BSP tool, is what I'm thinking. It might just be a tool that only really works with BSPs now because GCF's cooked. So it's not compatible, but BSPs can still store data. And demos can as well when you're dealing with DMEs, because it simulates all the packets. So if you capture DME stuff in your game, and then you replay it with a runtime that is prepared to interpret DME data. Otherwise, I guess it will just throw it out. I won't even think about it, really. Then perhaps I don't know. Perhaps that's how it happens then. Perhaps that's just... It's all very complicated, so it's hard getting my head around, really. I wonder if Anomidae is going to take out the files from this Xbox version of the game and magically show us Box Rocket. I know there's a way to do it, but I don't know how. The thing is about it is that Anomidae, in universe, that is, the canonical version of Anomidae, he's not very technically oriented. He had to go to the experts, so to speak, when like the experts of the server and shit, and figure out, like how to do what he was doing and what's going on and what he needs to do. So he's I mean, canonically speaking, not the real version, but the canon version of Anomidae is less dedicated to all of this kind of jazz than us. He does SFM, but that's about it. So yeah. He also makes games, but I don't think he's like a Source Engine wizard, again, canonically. So I don't know if he'll be able to get it out of his Xbox. He might struggle. That's where I'm going with that. I know that maybe Billy can guide him. So maybe Billy has... I feel like Billy would tell us, though. She would. If she'd done that. And if they'd had that conversation. So I don't know about that. Probably hasn't happened. Maybe Anomidae doesn't even know to ask. Oh no, he does, because he mentioned it in the Interloper E video. So he knows. He knows it's doable. Also, I don't think Anomidae's using an Xbox. He was using an emulator, if I remember correctly. So he wasn't using a real... He actually has the files. All he'd have to do is give them over to someone who knows how to deal with Xbox. And, which is Billy, really. And should be able to unpack the files for him. That's probably why it's so functional, That's probably why it's so functional. That's why Xbox is so functional. It's got to be because it's using a supported version of... it's both the latest version of a program, which seems to be a requirement. I guess that you implement that so that people aren't playing on older versions. So it's the most updated version of that instance of Half-Life 2, for Xbox. And it's also the most, it's the most compatible, probably, because I think it probably uses a file format that was intended to be supported. They had that in mind, Xbox and shit. So, and consoles for later on. So they would have packed it too, and the DLLs, I mean. So that's probably why it worked. That also implies that Ordnance, whatever we're dealing with, if that's true, I'm not just, being crackpot. If that's true, it kind of implies that maybe Ordnance is a program that's using like super archaic file streaming. I'm not sure if it's even using the latest version of like accessing folders. No, because all of the file stream, I think it's also about the system it uses to stream the files in the first place. Yeah. Yeah. But I guess DME files have always been compatible. Wouldn't day one Xbox? No, because the thing about day one PC version is what I was saying earlier. I think the way it works is that it checks to see if it's the latest version of a particular branch, and I think that Half-Life 2 is the latest version of the Half-Life 2 branch. That's what it considers to be the final iteration. It might not consider Half-Life 2 day of the 20th anniversary. It might not consider that to be Half-Life 2. Because it's going to be using like an automated system to work out what is the latest version of this program. Maybe TF2 is what it thinks is the latest version. That's why it's doing this. Maybe TF2 just happens to be what it thinks it's supposed to be. What Half-Life 2 is supposed to be. It's decided this is the closest relative. Which is odd because, no, but I guess, no, it probably isn't. No, probably isn't. It's probably just that TF2 is the most compatible because it's still kind of similar. But yeah, I think the reason why the DME files have maps and models and stuff like that in it is not, as I was saying earlier, I think it's just because it's got to be just because people like whoever was using the system, JJ, I guess, whoever he needed to adapt to the fact that VPKs were not usable, and you couldn't use the old system because all of the updates just like affected all of the games that were, that had the interlope DME stuff on it. So you had to work around, and BSP packing hasn't really changed much, if at all. So I guess the DME files still support that, which is probably why, when you get map files, we have packing in them. I bet it's intentional. I bet it's like a script that someone set up to pack shit in. Whenever they want to open up a map or like use a session or whatever. It could also just be like this is another thought I've had, it could also just be like a really archaic session format, because back in the day, if you were loading DME files and they were just recreations of the packets, you still need a way to be able to, the goal was to make it so that you can have models that move around. So maybe the idea was to originally just literally edit the maps so that you could spawn in models. So at like the runtime of Box Rocket, when dealing with DME files, the map you were on was always also saved as something else. Maybe just the name, but like 2, or maybe just data, I don't know. So that you could then edit it like a session file. Move things around, make animations. Very interesting. If that's the case, there was a session file in... Yeah, there was a session file in... it was corrupted, heavily corrupted, and we were missing binary data. um, from Interloper 2, the CSGO, sorry, not CSGO, the Counter-Strike source demo. And if it stored half of the session data in that, doesn't that mean that all of the missing spaces would be in the BSP? Like packed into it? Because that's that if this theory is true, that would be the old system. That would be how it works. So I'm just thinking, huh. I suppose what I could do, I mean, it's pretty stupid, but I could look at the oh, this is stupid. I could look at the BSP file in like raw text, you know, not Notepad, but Notepad plus. Yeah, I think well, actually, I think the CG7 maps are somewhat different. Not all of them. I think 2.4 is something to do with Box Rocket, but if you look at the shape and where the zero, you know, the origin point of the map is, and the shape of the maps, like the square layout, it looks a lot like the program that we got access to in Ordnance. So I think whatever it is that deals with the CG7 maps, when it wants to very quickly deal with, you know, when it wants to very quickly deal with making maps, not the Box Rocket way, you know, the other way, this drawing tool, it would use that tool instead. So it might just be an earlier version of the same thing. Like it might just be an earlier version of the it might be actually like a archaic version of Hammer actually, but for Source 1. Maybe they were thinking that they could go another route with it. So the plan was to make BSPs that way or something, I don't know. Actually, I mean, it could be like Doom. I guess it could be like Doom. Because it's very flat. You know? Like it's very 2D. So I mean, I guess it could be it could be like it could be meant for like the fucking Quake engine. Let me look at Doom map editors real quick. Hang on. Doom map editors. I just want to look at images of it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so the main thing I notice about it is that, I mean, I guess it has a base plate, but it doesn't have any grid in the version we had, so it would have to be, but it looks kind of right. It looks kind of right. This looks kind of true. Same 2D kind of feel to it. But it looks more like Hammer, that's the thing. Yeah. So it could be like, okay, let me look at the, what engine came after Doom? What engine came after Doom? Quake engine. Quake map editor. That's what I want to know. I don't know. I mean, this is already it's getting 3D pretty fast. We may have only had one viewport though. I guess we could have had, like, it could just be because it was one viewport. So, but the thing is, Quake is 3D. So this would have to be, if I was right about this, it'd have to be Doom engine. Like if it was like it could also be a branch of Doom engine. I don't know. Could be a branch. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. It's curious. It's very curious. I need to we need to get back into the server and just test things because like this isn't actionable. I'm just really thinking about how BSP files work and how DME files transfer data like that. And how it's like a tool for that. So, yeah. And how the interlope command is basically just a, yeah, I don't know. That seems to be the most plausible theory, but it doesn't, I'm wondering, I don't think it gives me anything useful. I'm going to switch sources back to TF2, because this is just a boring capture available soon feed. Let's put this back where, there you go. You can look at the actual capture available soon feed, which is just me sitting in front of this, this waiting time for CG7 to restart. Maybe it restarted early. Sometimes it did that a few times during Ordnance, particularly with Vol. It did it with that. So it's not possible. I guess I could not. I might not be waiting here infinitely. I want to get into Maze next cycle because I want to test the buttons 4-2, which is, I know it sounds kind of silly, but if it reacted to 4, that's the first number you input. It's just where my mind went, So I'm gonna try out the buttons 4-2 when I get in. See if that does anything. I need to get on blue team though. I'm gonna have to let everyone that gets in know. I'm actually just gonna rush to the door, but if anyone joins, I'll have to tell them to go on red. Otherwise I'm not getting in. Like I'm just not. It's not happening. I think because I'm streaming, I always load in slower than everyone else. Ever so slightly. It's not much, but it's enough for them to get blue first. Thank you. You just need to rate limit. If you rate limit, and then you join red, when you get in, you'll be fine. You'll get in, and I'll wait for you if you're there. I need to get in so I can load in the map. And I don't want to rate limit myself because I'm going to be honest, I don't want to rely on anyone else loading the map up. I don't trust it. I just don't. I feel like it's just not going to happen. Yeah, this is mostly a waiting game. This is fun. We're having a fun time. We're interloping. We're loping it. We're truly lopers now. Achieving new levels of lope. In 2025. I don't know what that really means. Don't ask. I don't know. I'm losing my mind. ADHD fucks up your brain, dude. I'm just waiting. I got nothing to do. Yeah. Guess I could theorize a little bit more. We got some time. Alright, well, if we're gonna go with the theory that that's how DME files work, and that's box rocket, that's what application deals with that, usually. It looks like that, it looks like you can transfer it, the function, it looks like the function, it's throughout the years, so this is true, this is actually like IRL, you can see evidence of, the developers of, from Valve working on SFM, and you could see it through like mostly res files. But it's there, and they were working on it for a long time, and I guess what I'm wondering is if maybe the DME file is the first bit they did, maybe. Maybe he was able to grab box rocket from the server he was connecting to. Maybe that's how he got the exe. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway. With that information, what the fuck is Sourcebox then? Maybe the idea behind Sourcebox was like it could have been like a community project. Because, I mean, in the real world, it was a community project that actually died, and the goal of it was to connect multiple games, across each other, so you could join and pull out a portal gun, and then they could use, like TF2 scripts that are, sorry, not TF2, actually, yeah, TF2, and Counter-Strike, that was the idea. You could play as, yeah, I mean, Sourcebox, but I think it is an application, like it physically is an application. So it does a bit more than just menu. But what I'm thinking is, what if maybe it was a community project, but that by using the DME tool, which allows you to combine automatically, maybe someone was going to sell it as like a mod. Well, not sell it, but they were going to pass it off as a mod they can, send and put out there. And that was the idea behind it, just to allow you to play multiple games alongside each other in the same server. You could interact and all that good stuff. Maybe that was the idea. I mean, again, the name is very familial. It's very much like, oh, I know you. I've seen you before. To that source mod that someone was actually working on, where you could use portal guns and counter-strike weapons, and it wasn't Gmod. It was literally like hard-coded. That was the idea. So it wasn't running on Lua, and it was literally just games inside the game. So maybe that's what it was, and it probably ships with the DME tool, because of course it does. Somebody just realized what it does and wanted to, yeah, it could be completely useless on its own, actually. Like, Sourcebox could be completely, like, dead without anything else in it. So when you grab the runtime, it still needs to interact with other source games, otherwise nothing happens. I'm gonna say that maybe the TF2 server that's being hosted is actually separate from Sourcebox, and it's just telemetry that's going on. That could be the case. Yeah. Could just be telemetry, and if that's the case, that would explain why Anobi was able to log in. He didn't have a key, though, because he didn't have a key. Yeah, because he didn't have a key, he wasn't able to load any of the TF2 data, so he couldn't see anything. I guess it didn't load textures, it didn't load sounds, it didn't load anything. The only thing it loaded was the code, which tells you the speed and tells you the the collision boxes and interactivity, so you can interact. But maybe that's why Anomi just had a black screen he could interact with. It couldn't, there was no data being translated. It might be the reason why there was no data being translated. Is because it was trying to grab it from a VPK server. That could be what it was. And you need to have it, implemented yourself. You have to literally find a way to connect or plug in the GCF stuff. Or you're just not getting the textures, because it tries to pull it from whatever server it's connecting to. So, cope, yeah. But it does grab the code, because they're DLLs, and DLLs are DLLs, so it's able to do that and put it under its wing and do that magic. I guess. Yeah, shit. Huh. How strange. Hmm. I wonder how Anomi's gonna progress with Sourcebox then. Because if that's what it is, like it contains whatever games you connect it to with. A big problem that Anomi's gonna have, you'll realize very fast, is that he can't see shit whenever he opens a viewport. Although, oh, is that why he did Ordnance? Oh shit, I think I get it. Oh, fuck. Huh. I think he set up... I think he made Ordnance. Or at least he, like, set it up, kind of, but he didn't make the process. It just kind of exists. He must have found... Maybe he's been given something else via Sourcebox. But that's why Ordnance was a thing. something about the fact that it was rendering stuff because Anomi can't see because he has no textures and the GCFs are fucked. It's just all outdated. Maybe rendering things does it differently somehow? I don't know, but something about rendering means that you can see, and that's why ordnance happened. And the reason why he couldn't just do it himself from there is because, yes, he could load in, and he was loading into maze for whatever reason. Actually, maybe he got as far as the maze door. He might have gotten just outside the maze door, and then it might have tried to let him do it, but he can't. Or maybe he just can't see anything beyond that point. I don't know. And then he activates... He figures out a way to give us the ability to render something. I think he's probably been sent... You know how like J-Stall gave his demo, his Zombie Slayer demo to Anomi? I think Anomi's probably been sent something to like that. And that's what all of the V routine shit was. Yeah. It was probably just a system that somebody else had tried before. So I think he might have gotten in contact with some of his friends from, not his friends, but with some friends from Japan, and that might be what's going on. And they gave him that program or this code or whatever, which he then plugged into Sourcebox, which I guess it was just it's just compatible. Maybe there's never been an update. I don't know. And he was able to set up ordnance so we could see, so anything could see, so we could get moving, because he couldn't move beyond the maze exit, like the exit to that room. Fascinating. That's very fascinating. And I guess it was loading him inside, but the thing is though, where did he put us? Maybe he found a way to load a DME file? Maybe he found a way to make a new one. That could be possible. I can see how that might have happened. Perhaps he found a way to create a new DME file and press play or start recording, whatever it takes to host the thing. But he couldn't see anything. So he sets up the rendering engine. Yeah. I imagine it probably came about because he noticed that view was a thing that he could do. Oh shit. I bet he was also... Oh. I imagine he's probably gone to view a lot of times on his end, like from his PC, because when you have Sourcebox open, you can also just use the map logic. It just works. So I bet that was the idea as well. But he couldn't control it. Perhaps he needed a host. Perhaps he needed the server. He might not have. There might be something that in the server that he doesn't have. That has to do with like fucking around in the source void. That maybe he had to, because I'm trying to think of a reason why he didn't just render it on his PC and do all of that shenanigans. I guess he didn't have. I guess it doesn't work. Or perhaps it does work. He just knew that there was no way he was going to be able to. He might have just seen ordnance happening and just been like, okay, yeah, there's no fucking way I'm going to be able to tell these people what to do. So I'm just going to let them do what they're going to do. It might have just been like, oh fuck, well, not much I can do about this. Let's just see what happens with what they do. Because they're going to flood. So, you know. And I can understand that. If I was a Nomi, I probably wouldn't want to be a part of Ordnance either, to be honest. I wouldn't want to be arguing and throwing reasons around. Just let them do what they're gonna do. It worked out, so that's neat. Heavy as spy. Oh my. Okay. So if that's how that works, and that's what Sourcebox is, it literally just contains the code for DME files, and it was supposed to load whatever game connected. Sorry for the burp. Direct 3D 6.1 is what was used for a very specific version of Windows Vista, and that was from around the time, because Direct 6, like not 6.1, 6 is what Gold Source uses, and I'm pretty sure Direct 3D 6.1 is what the Half-Life 2 beta uses, so I think it's about the beta thingy. Actually, going back on Sourcebox being a community project, it might have just been an idea that one of the members had, that they got the... Yeah, I know about the 9 minutes. Thank you, though. Thank you. It might have just been an idea that one of the members had of the Valve development team, and they were just thinking, hey, we can make this like mass multiplayer MMO thingy if we just make it so that, you know, whatever games that are made can share data via DME files. We can make this like a whole thing. They probably cancelled it just because of, you know, it doesn't make them enough money, because it means that anyone who doesn't own a game can still interact with that game world, and that's probably why it got cancelled. Probably just corporatism. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What else? What else? There must be more to... we've got 7 minutes. 7 more minutes of yapping. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Well, whatever all of this is dealing with, because of Direct 3D, and thanks for reminding me, by the way, at least we know that the version of source for it was made from. Maybe it's nothing to do with GCFs at all, you know. Maybe it's just to do with... Maybe there was one beta demo file, and I tried to look over it as much as I could, but there wasn't really much to find. Maybe I missed something, I don't know. But it was just in SFM. It was dated 10 in SFM, and it was just one Half-Life 2 beta demo. I suspect the reason why the demo got generated, though, is because whatever the interlope command is, it's pretty it's cross-platform whenever you have it running. So Sourcebox isn't, you know, it doesn't exclusively have that. It's just that it implores it, perhaps. Perhaps it's more designed for that kind of stuff, but it's not exclusive. So what I'm thinking is maybe because he tried to enter the interlope command into Gold Source, you know, Half-Life 1. The closest thing it could find, like, it's like it did the mental math on it almost. The most similar thing it could think of that it has in its data was Half-Life 2 beta. That's what it had, you know, on deck anyway, so to speak. So it was like, oh, okay, so you want the earliest... If you're doing Gold Source, you want the earliest thing. So I'm going to generate... I can't do it through this game because I have no control, but I've seen that you've entered the command. I'm going to now generate a Half-Life 2 beta demo. That might have been the reason why that happened. But it's the what that means is that it's the earliest compatible game with the interlope command, logically speaking. It has to be. Yeah. It'd be really funny if interloper turned out to be commentary on corporations canceling really, really cool stuff because it doesn't make them money. Because that's kind of what this would imply. Like, it would imply that the reason why Sourcebox didn't happen and all of this stuff didn't get released is not because they couldn't do it. It's because it wouldn't make them enough money, because people wouldn't buy so many of the games because they could just communicate with each other, the games. And you want more money. So it wasn't a good enough business strategy. So the coolest thing in the world, having all of your source games communicate and talk to each other, was cancelled because of greed. You know, greed over beauty. So, yeah, that would be pretty insane. If that's like the canon reason. It's just that Valve wanted money. And more money than they already had gotten. And they just never ever, they just thought, okay, we're going to make sure they have to buy the same game or the same system over and over and over in different variations. Even though they can all communicate, and we all know they can, but shh. Yeah. I do wonder what the coordinate thing that Anomi showed us, though, was. Because the viewport's fine, and sure, that means whatever. But I wonder what the, I wonder why he was, like, what that was. It looked like it was tracking something, but the more I think about it, the more I think, why the fuck would it be tracking players? So, Valve is a pretty chill company, but, you know, they've never ever... It could be 4.2, yeah. 4.2 may have been working on it with Valve, but decided that they were going to take it back because they wanted to try and make more money off of it, and Valve didn't care, maybe. Or maybe it did. I mean, Steam does some pretty fucked up shit sometimes still. You know, it's still a big company. And so does Valve sometimes. But yeah, it might be something like 4.2 decided, you know, and they were the ones working on the project, that maybe it's not enough for them. And they were going to cancel the project, which was like, it's a bit like outsourcing. You know, maybe Valve was outsourcing all of this functionality. They just said no, because we will still work for you, but this is a bad business plan, and they just refused to work on it further, and it got cancelled. But maybe it still got shipped with the earlier versions, because they might have been, I mean, they could have been testing it on like the masses. It could have been like an experiment to see, like, because nobody would know that they have it in their game. Maybe it was like an experiment to see how well some of the functionality works, like spying on people. That's probably what the interlope command could be, you know. Could just be like a way of spying on people. Random people that happen to still have the DLLs in their files. Yeah, I bet that's what it is. It's got, yeah, actually that makes a lot of sense. So the idea was, we implant everyone with a little bit of the functionality, not all of it. And also it's great for DM NPCs as well. That's another thing. It could be used for research and stuff. You can use player movement to, a bit like Portal 2's testing. Imagine if that's why Portal happened. Oh god, can you imagine if the reason why Portal 1 happened, canonically, I mean, in this universe, you know, is because they needed juicier data, and what more juicy data could you want than people having to solve puzzles? I mean, you get to see exactly what their thought process is. That's probably why there are so many like Type 4s, because it's like, it was like a later stage of development. It was like, okay, we need something better. So they see they look for a really cool project, right? They look for an awesome project, something that really uses crazy technology, whatever it is. And they find Nobacula drop. And because they're desperate, they just need some project. that they needed something, an excuse to make puzzles, basically. And that was the best thing they could find, and it was kind of interesting. So Gabe just goes, okay, well, this meets the requirements. Love it. Let's move it along. And oh shit, server restart. Wasn't paying attention. And there you go. And then they have a bunch of demos of NPCs and people recording. I mean, I think it could be people or it could be bots. But the point is you can absorb data. It's probably demos, yeah. But the point is, without their knowledge, you record their movements. You record what maps they're rendering, whatever. And you can then feed it to the machine, to the AI machine, the artificial intelligences, because maybe they were still working. Oh fuck! Maybe they were working on the DM editor, they were, like that Portal 1's release was like the height, maybe, of when they were working on the DM editor, like really putting it together, and maybe it was already like most of it was already there, but we needed more for type 5s. Maybe you just needed more data. So yeah, anyway, I'm gonna get moving. Who the fuck is Santi26G5? What a name. This is peak. What the fuck? This is truly peak. I don't know who that is. Someone called that. I'm just gonna go through the door. I know that it's kind of selfish, but if I do this, they'll be less likely to be prepared, and I need them to not get on blue. Jesus, that was fast. I'm sorry, Walnut. You've been sacrificed. I'm sorry. I just can't trust anyone. Because I know people have a tendency to fuck with things. I can't have another setback. I've got time. Alright, blue team again. Oh my god. Oh my god, I went in the box and then I went back out. Oh my god. I fucking went, I visited the poor people that were about to be executed, then I fucking dipped. That's insane. I was already on the lower level, and then I fucking went back in, and then I went back out. That's so stupid. And so crazy. Holy fuck. I was about to get yoinked. That was nuts. Who is Santi? Dude, who are you? Who the fuck is Santi? Dendoy? Need to Google Translate. Hang on. Google Translate. What does that mean? Donde estoy? Where am I? Oh no, he doesn't know. He doesn't know. He doesn't get it. I think he's new. I think he's very new. He doesn't get it. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh no. Yeah, he doesn't get it. What? Oh, we ran into a fucking wall. Oh my god. Oh my god. I was trying to This fucking random Spanish guy joins and he just runs into a wall and kicks us. Sometimes it's really hard, you know? Like, it's really hard to maintain composure with people, you know? It's just really hard. One moment, I gotta mute. Yeah, I gotta go anyway, but this just sucks. This just sucks. It doesn't matter who did it. Doesn't matter who he is. It's done now. And, I can't do anything about it. And that really is really just annoying because I've been set back so many times by random people joining. And I just can't get in. I can't get anything done because it's like having to child mind what are basically toddlers. It just really, it gets to me sometimes. But, you know, I gotta end the stream anyway. So it's not the worst outcome. But, you know, maybe in 3 fucking years, I'll be able to do my tests. Uh, so, yeah. Uh, where's the stream ending source? There it is.